When Antonio Conte pushed open the doors at Vinovo in July 2011, Juventus was still nursing a 5-year hangover, one false down after another. His opening statement felt both retro and defiant. 3 centre-backs, rear wing-backs, a pair of strikers, and a midfield designed to pinch the ball before opponents finished blinking. On the chalkboard, it read 3-5-2. On the pitch, it looked alive. Giorgio Chiellini, Leonardo Bonucci, and Andrea Bazzagli formed the backbone. Snarling, bossy, fearless, while Stefan Lichtsteiner and Kwadwo Asamoah sprinted sideline marathons for width, dropping in between Andrea Pirlo. The free signing Milan thought was toast. He set the tempo, drifting into the back line to launch patterns, pinging diagonals, slicing vertical passes like a surgeon. Arturo Vidal and Claudio Marchisio played pistons, press, burst, repeat. Up front, usually Carlos Tevez with Fernando Llorente. One peeled wide, the other attacked the space. Serie A tilted on impact. Conte didn't just overhaul tactics, he rewired mindset. Training was a blur of rondos, positional games, and wind sprints punctuated by Conte's raw-throated rants. Players joked that even the sprinklers felt pressure. He banned cell phones in meal rooms, demanded tailored diets, and once stopped a session mid-drill because the third-choice keeper's body language looked defeated. Defenders ran extra laps for every blocked cross that wasn't cleared beyond the penalty arc. The group hated it, right up until match day, when legs felt lighter and pressing traps snapped shut like mousetraps. Conte's first Juve shipped only 20 league goals and went unbeaten on their way to the Scudetto. Papers called it a return to the old Juve, yet this version attacked in packs the moment possession flipped. By 2013-14, they'd piled up 102 points, still a league record, while keeping the division's tightest defense. From a distance, it looked like Catenaccio. Zoom in, and you saw engineered chaos. Win it, break, shut the door behind the BBC and Gigi Buffon. Numbers alone never capture the mood that season. Fog-cold nights in Turin, 40,000 fans humming the Juve Storia di un grande amore anthem. And within 10 minutes, opponents were already down a goal, staring at the south stand like kids who'd lost their parents in a mall. Conte's touchline antics, suit jacket flapping, hair transplant swaying, became a meme factory. But inside the locker room, he was half mentor, half drill sergeant, demanding furore agonistico, that gladiatorial fury Italians romanticize. Massimiliano Allegri took over in 2014 and refused to colour inside the lines. The fixed 3-5-2, it gave way to a slick diamond or a crooked 4-3-1-2. Pirlo stayed quarterbacking, Vidal and Marchisio tweaked their angles, Paul Pogba swaggered into half spaces. Juventus still collapsed into a 4-4-2 shell out of possession, but now with extra masks. They could jump high to press, then fold into 2 banks of 4, leaving rivals feeling robbed and barricaded at once. That shape-shifting carried them all the way to the 2015 Champions League final, just 3 seasons after Europa League purgatory. Allegri's genius wasn't only on the tactics board. He turned the training ground into a university of role-swapping. Pirlo spent afternoons rehearsing as auxiliary centre-back, Bonucci drilled disguised lofted passes like a number 10, and fullbacks practiced darting runs into the half spaces, anticipating football's coming inversion trend. The manager's mantra, if you can only do one job, you'll end up doing more, that portability paid off every time an injury struck. Plug-and-play replacements slotted in with barely a stutter. Berlin matched Juve's chameleon act against Barcelona's turbo artistry. For an hour, the game sat on a knife edge. Alvaro Morata leveled after a Tevez rebound, and for 10 glorious minutes, the Italians looked sharper. Then, Barca hit the nitro, scored twice, and the scoreboard froze at 3-1. What box scores miss is the respect earned. Juve stood toe-to-toe with Messi, Suarez, Neymar, maybe the era's deadliest trio, and only wilted late. The flat-track bully tag vanished overnight. Fans remember more than the score. They remember Pogba shielding the ball from three Blaugrana like a bouncer guarding velvet rope. They remember Vidal sprinting back 60 meters to clatter Dani Alves, then helping him up with a grid that said, "Nothing personal, hermano." They remember Buffon yelling "Ancora" again while organizing his wall, as though stopping Lionel Messi free kicks was simply a matter of repetition. Allegri's masterstroke landed mid-season 2016-17. He scraped narrow wins for a daring 4-2-3-1 that squeezed Gonzalo Higuain, Paulo Dybala, Mario Mandzukic, and Juan Cuadrado into one attacking canvas without springing leaks. Miralem Pjanic and Sami Khedira locked midfield. Cuadrado hugged touchlines, Higuain lurked off shoulders, and Mandzukic reinverted himself as Europe's hardest working wide forward, tracking back, winning headers, still scoring. Dybala drifted like a street artist tagging wet concrete, lose the ball, and the shape snapped into a 4-4-2 blockade, win it, and wingers morphed into extra strikers. That version of Juve felt like a Tesla in ludicrous mode, silent until it wasn't. 1 minute, they'd drop into a cagey mid-block. Next, they'd launch a flurry of one-touch passes and be in on goal before the TV director could cut cameras. Italian commentators coined Manzi Presa for the Croatians' relentless closing. Fitness coaches claimed his GPS numbers matched top Bundesliga fullbacks. In a league famous for tactical chess, Allegri had found his queen sacrifice, a 9-foot-tall target man masquerading as a left mid. That spring, Juve conceded 3 goals in 12 Champions League ties. Porto, 0. Barcelona's MSN, silenced for 180 minutes. Monaco's Young Guns, muzzled. Buffon, 39, moved like it was 2006, chalking 9 clean sheets. If Barca played symphonies and Madrid belted pop hits, Juve shot black and white film noir. Tense, ruthless, perfectly cut. Behind the numbers sat micro details. Bonucci's hip feint that sold Kylian Mbappe the wrong way. Chiellini whispering, "Where are you going, kid?" after a crunching block. Dani Alves now wearing black and white, flipping a backheel pass on the byline just to flex. Juve's dugout looked like a crime drama control room. Allegri mumbling sequences into a sleeve mic. Assistants moving magnets, Buffon turning to the bench with a thumb up after every save. The 2017 final in Cardiff threw them against a Real Madrid approaching full dynasty mode. Mandzukic answered Ronaldo's opener with a balletic overhead. Chest, flick, bicycle, net. That still lights highlight reels, but Casemiro's deflected drive cracked Juve's shell. Ronaldo added a dagger, and the night collapsed 4-1. 2 finals in 3 years, no trophy. Yet Juve were now recognized as Europe's gatecrashers, not just Italy's bullies. Post-match, Chiellini wept on Buffon's shoulder like a heartbroken bouncer. Dybala stared at the turf, wondering how glory could be so cruel. Allegri shrugged, said, "Football is simple. Score, don't concede," and walked down the tunnel, already planning pre-season. The plan lingered, but so did the lesson. You can bully Serie A with structure. To beat Madrid, you need stardust and margins. Names matter. Buffon patrolled like a landlord collecting rent, barking in graveled Italian. Chiellini wrestled every duel as a personal war. Bonucci threaded 40-yard lasers with playmaker grace. Barzagli, the silent assassin, erased space before strikers spotted it. Together, they turned the phrase "ugly 1-0" into art. Midfield, Pirlo steeled the ship till 2015. Pjanic grabbed the compass after. Vidal attacked like a prize fighter and popped up late to score. Marchisio filled gaps nobody else saw. Pogba added the fireworks, step-overs, rockets, dab-heavy celebrations before fetching a world record fee. Up top, Conte's functional duet became Allegri's carousel. Tevez brought hunger and 50 goals. Morata loved a knockout round. Higuain swapped goals for more goals, Dybala sprinkled stardust, and Mandzukic personified selfless grind. Off the pitch, those personalities meshed into folklore. Bonucci once interrupted a pre-match huddle to remind Mandzukic to tie his shoelace, or "I'll do it with your loose boot in my face." Pirlo refused to remove a beanie in 30-degree heat because it was lucky. Buffon's pre-game espresso ritual, double shot, 1 sugar, no talk for 2 minutes, became team law. Little rituals, big aura. Domestically, the numbers are cartoonish. 9 straight league titles, 2012 to 2020, 4 consecutive Coppa Italias from 2015, Super Cups like confetti. Conte's unbeaten opener set the bar. Allegri matched or beat it while hoarding cups. Record home streaks, record points, a 49-game league unbeaten run. Each season, another chapter in an encyclopedia rivals hated reading. Opposition managers tried everything: full court press, ultra-low block, back three mirror, even fedelissimi motivational speeches referencing family honor. It rarely mattered. Juve's depth chart looked like a cheat code. Patrice Evra strolling in for experience, Dani Alves for swagger, Blaise Matuidi for engine oil, Emre Can as utility glue. When fatigue hit, Allegri reached for the bench and found another international. Detractors say trophies are the only currency, and Juve never lifted old big ears. Supporters point to 2 finals, shutting out Barca and going toe-to-toe with peak Madrid as proof of elite status. UEFA coefficients agree. Juve lived in the top 3. Buffon, Chiellini and Pogba made global XLS. Dybala snagged Serie A MVP. The 3 goals allowed run to Cardiff remains one of the stingiest on record. Ask neutral fans and they'll describe Juve with an odd mix of admiration and dread. A team whose highlight reel is half-ditch tackles, half-inch perfect diagonals. They weren't romantic like Klopp's Liverpool or Guardiola's City, but they were a masterclass in problem-solving under pressure. Football's version of a heist crew that never trips lasers. Turin still buzzes about Mandzukic's Cardiff bicycle, Dybala's Barca brace, Tevez's burst in Dortmund, Bonucci's laser to Liechtensteiner, Buffon's fingertip on Mbappe, Pogba's roulette versus Napoli. These snapshots capture a culture where sweat earned as much applause as goals. Conte set ferocious standards. Allegri layered tactical nuance. Training drilled automatisms so deep, players could change shape mid-match without looking over. There's a photo from 2016. Chiellini's face smeared with blood, smile broad as a billboard, shirt sleeve ripped, and a caption that reads, La gioia di difendere, the joy of defending. That image still hangs in the academy hallway as a silent lecture to every 15-year-old centre-back dreaming of glory. How good was Prime Juve? Good enough to twist Serie A to their will for nearly a decade. Good enough to survive tactical revolutions and still hoist trophies every spring. Good enough that neutrals grudgingly admired their brand of defending. Less dark art, more geometry lesson. Losing to all-time Barcelona and Madrid sides felt like near misses, not failures. They weren't domestic bullies, they were continental contenders. Italian defensive DNA, rebooted with pressing triggers and turbo transitions. They reminded Europe a clean sheet can spike adrenaline like a 5-4 thriller, and that vets nudging 40 can groove with prodigies barely legal. Coaches everywhere borrow Allegri's mid-block disguise. Pundits cite the BBC when teaching partnership chemistry. Buffon's speak last, shout loud mantra circulates locker rooms. Juve hunt the next Pirlo, the next Tevez, the next Dybala, chasing that perfect balance. Prime Juventus never kissed the Champions League trophy, but they wrote a manual on reviving a giant, dominating a league, and scaring Europe's aristocracy. It was Italian football distilled. Brainy, brutal, beautifully timed, seasoned with wing speed and midfielders who could both maul and create. For 7 seasons, they were Italy's measuring stick and Europe's nightmare draw, a monument to what relentless structure plus just enough stardust could achieve.